The overhead overstuff, the travel trick that some people are using to get around airline fees for checked bags. Now, many are saying it's happening too often. It's causing headaches for both airlines and passengers alike. And you heard in Kathy Tomlinson's report earlier on Go Public, one man lost thousands of dollars worth of stuff because they had to check his bag as a result. Travel expert Kathy Buckworth is in with me this morning. We put this over to our viewers for questions, and we have your tips to come, and it's great to see you on this.
Thanks.
March break either here or coming
People
up.
are going
They
places
are
next
going
week. So
places.
building on that particular gentleman's, it was terrible, him losing all of his things. So that does
Have
happen.
you heard of that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I've been in line where I've seen people be sort of forced to gate check their bag when they get to the front, because of course the challenge for the airlines is they don't know how many people are going to have those carrying bags until the plane is loaded.
I think
So
they should assume now just everyone.
But they don't have room for everyone, and that's the point too, right? So they don't have room for everyone. The guys at the end are sort of, and this particular guy was not expecting to have to depart from his bag, so he had all kinds of valuables in there. I've seen that too, someone saying, but my laptop's in there, I shouldn't have given it away, and I'm like, you shouldn't have. So make sure that you're prepared for that might happen. So if you've at the last minute are being told gate check your bag, have another little bag you can pull out of there that you can fit under the seat. There's always room under the seat. It's the overhead storage we're talking about that gets full.
Can I just bring in a tweet from one of our viewers? As I said, we opened this up, and one of his things is, this is Rob, he said, in addition to a one-bag limit, make passengers use the under-seat space in front of them, no exceptions.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen, does it?
It doesn't always happen, and I think in particular it can be tough if you're tall and you need the leg room, you know, and seats are closer and closer together, but you've got to account for that. You've got to think to yourself, what if I can't use the under seat because I'm too tall? What if I can't use overhead because it's full? So really, I mean, this sounds so obvious, but pack as light as you can and make sure your suitcase fits. They are very strict now in terms of, you know, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, it's got to fit in the guidelines. Even still, you can get asked to gate check it at the gate. So make sure you're really packing.
Some people are actually, I mean, aren't people kind of hoping for that because they don't have to pay the fee. They don't have to pay, so then they slam it all into their carry-on bag, and then maybe they'll have me check it, and then I won't have to carry it.
So some people are hoping for that. Of course, you can't guarantee it, and then sometimes you're that person wandering the aisles trying to find the space. I've seen fights erupt. Exactly what you had mentioned off the top. There's flight delays because people are not getting their bags in, and then they have to stop and gate check it. Getting off the plane can take 15 minutes because everyone is either going backwards to get their bag or trying to find it forward. So it takes a lot. It's a big cost to the airlines.
You can't find any room in the compartments to back to 32, and it's just a snarl.
So what can we do?
Okay, what can we do?
So if you're really insisting on going carry-on, please pack as small a bag as you can. Don't take one just because it's the biggest one that'll fit. How's that? So try to go smaller. Rolling your clothes seriously works in terms of getting clothes to get smaller in your bag instead of folding them. Stuff every running shoe with socks. You know, really try to be compact and look at your itinerary before you go to make sure you're packing only the things you need. So now you've got the smallest thing possible. What if you're going on a longer trip?
Yes.
You do need to consider checking your bag. There's just going to come a time when you need to consider checking your bag. You're going to pay for that, probably, that's right, unless you have a business class or an economy plus ticket. Sometimes it's included.
So that might be, so that some people might look at that, but an economy plus ticket, that's about $60, isn't it?
It depends on the airline. Totally depends, and on the load as well, too.
So
it can vary on the load.
It might be still more expensive than paying for the individual
It might
bag.
still, but then you might get the bag thrown, and maybe you're getting your, you know, something, drinks for free or something, whatever it is. So you've got to do the math on it. If you check your bag, again, make sure that you get the baggage claim stub. Actually says it's going where you want it to go. I have actually checked mine, and it was not YYZ. It was going somewhere else. So make sure they've tagged it correctly. Make sure you know if you have to pick up your bag at a connection. Often people think, well, it's just going to go all the way through to Africa, even though I left from Winnipeg. It's probably not. You're probably going to have to change the bag yourself at some point.
Frankfurt.
Or Frankfurt?
Yes.
So check that as well. You can get luggage insurance. If you're traveling...
Do you advise luggage
insurance? I do advise luggage insurance, actually, if you are checking and you have things that you really can't replace, you know, easily, money-wise. If you're traveling with a partner, this is the old trick, pack half your stuff in theirs and they pack half in yours. So if you lose one bag, at least you both have half your stuff.
Isn't that a good idea? I've never
Instead of one person on the beach in their, you know, winter coat and the other one's got all of them, right? So things like that can sort of protect you in the worst case scenario.
Isn't that a smart idea? Okay, here's a tweet from a viewer as well. wondering, just as far as another common baggage hassle, do you lock the bags? He's going to a multi-destination. Do you lock your luggage?
I think you can lock your bags. I think, locking your bags is a good idea. The odds of something being taken out of your bag are pretty slim, but if you do lock it, maybe it's an indication to somebody to say maybe there's something worth taking. I'm not sure. I'm sort of two minds on that. A lot of airports now will actually shrink wrap your bag, which protects not only things from being taken out in a very obvious way, but also things going into your suitcase, which can be a concern too if you're traveling somewhere and you don't have an eye on your suitcase all the time.
Not to mention,
so shrink wrapping an option.
Protects the suitcase when someone's hauling it inside.
And it's easy to see when it's in pink shrink wrap too. So locking, I mean, for peace of mind, you don't want the zipper busting open. Sometimes I would recommend if your suitcase is really packed tight and the lock is there to stop it from busting open, throw a piece of duct tape around it. You don't want your bag bursting either when it's in transit,
mortifying.
right?
I would imagine
that's mortifying.
Out it comes on the luggage conveyor.
All of your stuff.
Let me ask you this. I just happened to look at TripAdvisor. 5 most annoying airline fees. Number 1 is checked baggage. Number 2 is carry-on baggage. Airline passengers hate having to pay. They just do. And then they hate now what we're seeing with more and more of these overstuffed compartments.
They do. I think it's a combination, actually. I think it's the having to pay because we feel like we're paying a lot of extra fees and taxes already. I think the second thing is people are worried about losing their luggage if it's out of their sight or having things stolen out of their luggage. And the third thing is the wait time. I mean, busy airports, you can wait. I've waited 45 minutes for a bag. So that can add a lot of time onto the end of your trip when you just want to get home or just get to the hotel.
But what's the solution? You have to imagine it's making a lot of money for the airlines. They're probably not walking away from those fees, and yet their passengers are irritated.
Exactly.
What's the solution?
I think they have to incent people to check their bags more often, actually, away from the carry-on, and whether that's awarding them extra loyalty points, whether it's giving them better seats or different seats. I always say, if you don't carry on, you should get a better seat because you're getting on and off the plane quicker. Maybe put those people at the front of the plane and the airlines, you're right, they have to come up with some way to incent people to not always try to carry on everything because it's really getting out of control.
It really is.
And you're right, I don't know if the fees are going anywhere.
All right, well, thank you for that valuable information. I hope it was of benefit to you at home as you get set perhaps to travel somewhere for March break. Great to meet you, Kathy.
Thanks,
and thank you to come in.